As those of you join, welcome. We'll be starting in 5 minutes.
Jenny, we just had a member comment that you're using one of the solo stoves that's available at the club.
I guess I am.
Yeah, and I told Wayne that he missed dinner. You already made it. So using your solo stove.
Well, as people join, we'll be starting in about a minute or so, actually. So thank you for your patience. We have about 50 people online, so we'll see how it goes. I don't think we're going to crash Zoom, but we'll see how it goes. I feel like we should have a countdown clock that says meeting starting in a few minutes.
Right?
And I know, Jenny, the fire is not as close to your hair as it appears on screen, but it looks like your hair is like right on top of the fire. So
Why don't we switch it to the other side?
okay, I feel better now because safety is paramount.
Safety, yeah, never take the holiday.
Well, welcome everyone. We're going to start right now, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. I want to welcome you all. I'm Eric McHenry, I'm your international president, and I'm joined tonight by Lori Tilton, our executive director over there, and also we have a special guest, Ginny Snetler. Besides being a great friend of mine and a strong contributor on the executive council, Ginny is the project manager leading the group of volunteers and paid people that's working on our new headquarters building, which I believe she's sitting right in front of right now. She got took some time off to get cleaned up and come up and help us out on the campfire chat. Jenny's going to be talking about the status of the building. I'm gonna say hi, Jenny and Lori, and say hi.
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 Okay, so tonight, the structure of what we've done, and Lori and I have been doing this since Freiburg, Maine, where we started it as an attempt and an effort just to have informal conversations with our members. I used to work at Hewlett Packard in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we had something called coffee talks, where the general management would just sit down and talk with employees, and it's just really fun. We learn a lot, and so to that point, any question you have, I always say feel free to ask it. Now you'll have to use the Q&A box, and we're monitoring the Q&A box. And if we don't get back to you before we leave, we actually have a history, a log of the questions, and we'll get back to you privately. But ask any questions. If we can answer it, we will. If we can't, we'll get back to you or let you know why we cannot. We're going to hold to 1 hour, respecting your privacy. We'll have a little bit of time for extra question and answers afterward if needed. But this is just really informal. And in as much as I want it completely informal, we've also found it helpful to have a PowerPoint, which I'll put up in a second, that kind of talks you through kind of where we're going to go through in some of the slides. So don't view it being too formal with the PowerPoint, but I hope you'll find it easier to understand kind of where we're going. Okay, so I'm going to share this now, and if someone could let me know if y'all can see this now.
I can see it great.
Excellent. So the first thing Lori is going to talk us through is, how is our membership doing? Are we growing, shrinking? What's the status of our club? Because we all love the club. We've been around for almost 70 years. We want to make sure that whatever we do is sustainable. And part of that is measured in membership growth and retention. But also, it's also measured in what are some of the discounts and benefits that we give to our members. And by the way, these are not just financial benefits. This is sort of like, hey, it's a great place to hang out. We learn about our community and our airstreams. And then we're going to go through kind of a really cool thing. This is the second year that our club, Lori and myself specifically, have been invited by the factory, Airstream Incorporated. This is the CEO and their marketing and salespeople to join them at their worldwide dealers meeting. And this is a big deal, right? Because they bring together, there's 60 or 100 dealers, Lori? How many is it worldwide? Yeah, these are the CEOs and general managers of all the dealerships worldwide, and Asia, Europe, North America. And they come together for once a year, and Airstream Inc. talks about sort of what are some of the big initiatives, what are some of the concerns our members are seeing, the customers are seeing on be it service or sales, post-sales support. And they invited us 2 years ago to come talk about our club. And Lori will talk about that a little bit more later, or I will, about how we are now an integral part of, as their CEO calls it, the Airstream family. And it's really great. And the last one, of course, is I gave a heads up on, Janie's going to talk us through the renovation on 707 West Pike. And by the way, that's an address. It's West Pike Street Avenue in Jackson Center, Ohio. Okay, first, let me hand over to Lori, talk about where we are in membership.
All right. Well, thanks, Eric. So as you guys can see by this chart, right now we're at 97, well, Monday, whatever day it was. Yeah, Monday, we're at 9714, which we've already surpassed last year's numbers, and we expect to hit close to 10,000 this year, at least. That is our goal. So what's crazy about our membership, we are steadily growing. People are coming in. Probably 45 to 50 is what's happening right now. Eric, if you can advance to the next slide for me. So you can see the new members. There we go. And you can see our numbers. So the green bar is this year. It's just been amazing. The Explorer program, which we'll touch on here a little bit more, is helping get our club in front of new people, as well as Eric mentioned, this dealers meeting. We're really working hard to make sure that people understand we're here to help, and that we can definitely benefit or give benefits to those new members, and just not monetary, but just that whole education and learning things about their rigs. So I'm confident that we're going to continue going down this road. Next slide. Sorry, I don't remember this deck that well. So one of the other things the club has been working on is our member discounts and benefits. This is so I'm just so thrilled about it. Actually, I've been with the club almost 10 years, actually 10 years next month. And all this has come new to us within probably the last 2 to 3 years. So as you can see, this list, different things are available. And if anybody ever has any questions or wants to know what's new, again, go back to our website, airstreamclub.org, and under the member resources, there is a tag right there that says membership discounts or discounts and benefits. So you can get more information there. And you do need to be logged in because some of these folks we do have special codes for. And so only our members have access to that. And that's going to be behind our wall. Somebody answered about,
Yeah, go ahead.
is there a COLA? A little bit. We are just now rampant, and actually we got some slides we can show you, but we definitely have increased our Explorer program members. I think we're at almost 800 now or 900. So they definitely, I think, are about 30% of the new folks coming into the club.
And Laura, there was a question about which benefits are available to Canadian members and how to identify that online.
So all of them are, I know, except for Michelin at this moment. And I know we are working on Michelin, they're working with their dealer network to make those benefits available. But everything else should be available to Canadians. I don't know why it would not be.
Thank you. By the way, to answer this more, Randall had this question about correlation between new trail availability and membership growth. Laura, can I take you back to the membership chart? And there was an inflection point in there when we rebranded. I think it's really important to remember that we did a lot of growth out here. This right here is when we rebranded and relaunched our website, and a lot of new marketing and outreach material happened. So go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, so it was right around 2019 is when we started rebranding the club, using our DBA, the Airstream Club International, as well as rebuilding our website. And that is when it appears it took about, I don't know, 9 months, maybe a year, for all that to cycle through. We all know about Google and all that stuff, so to bubble to the top. But since then, as you can see, then starting mid 2020, even with COVID and going forward, we're still growing. So I'm thrilled about the branding. And I think it's the whole just getting that Airstream name out there that will help us help people recognize that we are here.
And as Lori will talk about a little bit later, it's this connection with the dealerships, which the International Board of Trustees acknowledged was a huge thing to do because for a lot of people, of course, when they buy new, their interaction, they hear about us through the dealership or not, right? Or not. And so we're doing a lot of work to make sure dealerships know who we are. Okay, so let me go on to courtesy parking and that'll finish the benefits. I'll talk about this one. So this is a program that our board of trustees identified about a year and a half ago, the courtesy parking program, which has been in effect for well over 10 years. It's a program whereby, like Airbnb, where you can camp at a member's home for free, typically one night overnight, only for our club members. And although it's been around for 10 to 15 years, it's highly underutilized. And as we talked to members and we talked to our board, the problem was people didn't know about it. They viewed it as hard to use. And they also viewed it as a little bit, it felt a little personal. So if you didn't know anyone, you had to call them up or email them and say, hey, my name is Eric and can I stay at your place? And it was a little bit awkward for people. And so about a year ago, we started negotiating with Harvest Host to take our courtesy parking data and put it on their platform in a way that it's still free to all of our members. And so we're going to be launching this in late September. You've seen the emails from Kathy Gacy. She's been running this program. She's done a tremendous amount of work. Kathy Gacy is a volunteer, also a member of our executive council. And this is a look at the new interface. And if you looked at the last blue beret, printed blue beret, you would have seen it in there. And what's amazing about this now is that it'll allow our members, like say you're traveling cross country. I don't have the screens in there, but let's say you can click the dates. I mean, can you see my mouse moving around or not, the arrow? Okay, well, maybe not. So at the top navigation on here, you can say, hey, I want to pick the dates I'm traveling. I want my rig length is 30 feet and I want to have electrical, and it'll actually show you along a route where the courtesy parking spots are. And when you click on one of them, you'll see some example pictures of what it'll look like. It'll show you a picture of the place, and then you can click on that and go and ask for permission to stay. So we believe it's going to be really an amazing benefit. And when I talk to members about our club benefits, like what do they get for their dues? Like Laverne, my wife and I, we stayed at a member's house in Oregon, courtesy parking. And yeah, if we'd stayed in a campground, we probably would have paid 60, 80 bucks a night. But instead we stayed for free at a person's house and got a great dinner out of it as well. And so if it was only financial, it pretty much paid for our members, just that membership, just that one night staying at a friend's house. So, but more importantly, it reinforces a sense of community, right? Because we're hanging out with fellow Airstream Club members. We have a great time, reestablish old friendships, make new friendships. So it's a really cool program. As you can tell, I'm quite excited about it. I think our membership will really quite enjoy it. And again, it's free. So you'll have to get a free Harvest Host account. It's free. You'll get access to just our courtesy parking data. But if you want to add the traditional Harvest Host layers like wineries, golf clubs, distilleries, then you have to pay for that. But our layer is completely free. And this is part of our negotiation with them. So any questions about, okay, yeah. No. Okay, let's go into the next, and we're looking at the Q&A, by the way. If there's any that you guys asked, just type it in the Q&A.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
jump in there, Eric, because Ron has a message about whether or no the percent of total Airstreams that are members in addition to the total number of ACI members. So no, we don't have that because one, they as an Airstream Inc. and we don't know actually how many are still on the road. There's a ton that still are, but we don't have that grand number to figure that out. But I can guesstimate that we are probably currently getting 40 to 45%, we'd say, new owners per week versus the rigs that are going out of the factory. So that's kind of a guesstimate what we are. I would love to have that number, but we don't. So maybe one day we'll get it.
Yeah, and as Laura will talk about, I think in this one, it's quantity, it's quantity and quality, right? Because new benefits and new memberships are great because we're an open, inviting club. But the key thing is that we really want the people to join to stay at our club, and for them that means finding value out of our club. So going to a rally is typically the thing they see first. So the big goal we're pushing over and over again is when a new member joins, get them involved in your local club, get them to an event, and that's where they'll start to see the long-term value. And hopefully they'll stay.
Yep.
Okay. I mentioned the dealers meeting, kind of a kickoff. This is kind of a montage slide, and it was kind of cool. So last year, we presented up on the big stage. This year, we were on the big stage slideshow, but we also decided to have breakout room. This is a picture of Lori in a breakout room with a number of the dealers talking about our club. So let me hand it over to you, Lori, to talk about sort of what we shared with. Oh, I think I'm next, actually. I continue
You
next.
are.
Okay, so when we talk to the dealers, this is what we tell them. And Laura and I wanted you guys to see this because this is how we talk about you guys. So we talk about the fact they're established in 1955, oldest single branded club. We're kind of like an Airstream owners organization, but we're standalone from the company. We're a nonprofit, 501c7, Jackson Center, primarily volunteers, a paid staff of only 6 at Jackson Center. As you all probably know, we have about 100 local clubs, 9 intra-clubs across North America, and roughly 18,000 members. So we're a very big, influential club that loves the Airstream brand. We talk about our mission, if you will, like sort of why do we exist when we talk to our members, when we look at our programs. And our theme is we want to rally together, right? Whether it's your first or your 100th, being part of this club means that a neighbor is never too far away to lend a hand. share an experience, or shoot the breeze, right? I think everyone who's a member who's been to a rally or been in the club for a while really understands that this is a really tight community that is very special. Our promise is that, yeah, we're open to everyone. We're a diverse, friendly group of Airstreamers. We want to show you the endless opportunities of Airstream lifestyle, right? And this is really important because unlike some other brands, when people buy an Airstream, they have this sort of aspirational view of what they're going to do in it, right? They're going to be by lake or water, all these cool things. And we want to make sure that we can deliver the parts of that are important to us also, which is learning about our trailers, getting to meet new people, hanging out together, socializing, learning, things like that. We felt this slide was really important, particularly a couple of years ago. As we have talked with people who have thought about joining our club years ago, or who have joined and left, they said, we're just a bunch of old people that just sit around and do X, Y, Z. And we tell them, no, just like America, we are a very diverse group of people of all sorts of interests, right? We have all these intra clubs, everyone's welcome. And this is really important for Airstream as a company, because Airstream as a company, back to the question we had before, Airstream as a company sells to all these people, right? And so we want to make sure that our club is open and of interest to pretty much all the people that buy Airstreams. So part of this are our intra clubs. And we've had intra clubs are groups of clubs that are organized by a particular interest. Our longest lasting ones or longest term ones have been the Amateur Radio Intra Club, which I'm a part of, Alpha Alpha 6 Echo Mike, call sign. The Vintage Airstream Club, Classic Airstream Club, but we've added probably 6 or so more over the last 2 or 3 years. Stella Sisters on the right, for example, is focused on women who tow by themselves, right? It's a great group. It's one of our fastest growing demographics in our club, and it provides a place for women who tow themselves to get together, share ideas, practice backing up, travel together with a better view of safety, etc. Grapes and Grains in the middle is one, as you can probably imagine, is focused on spirits. They're not talking about getting drunk. They're just really, they like to taste pretty good whiskeys and wines and things like that. It's a very robust and a fun group. Pride streamers, LGBTQ plus members, and we have about 6 other ones. So we are a very wide and inclusive intra club, and it's worked out really well for a lot of our members. In fact, we just launched a boondocking intra club for people interested in boondocking. Laura's going to talk a little bit more about this also, but one of the things that the dealers really like about our club is that, when I was young, our Airstream, we had a tent trailer before that. My wife and I, we tent camped, we kayak camped. So we've been camping pretty much all of our lives. Nowadays, a lot of the people that buy Airstreams, they've never camped before in their life. They never towed anything. They saw a really cool marketing brochures. Oh, it looks like fun. But once they hitch up and they leave the dealer, there's a lot of questions about how to be successful and confident in using your trailer, and frankly, where to go too. So we offer 800 or so events across US and Canada, blah, blah, blah. So we talk about that. Lori's going to talk a little bit more about the push to do more newbie rallies partnered with the dealers. Our heritage is extremely important, right? One of the riches of our club is that we've been around so long. And if you've ever been to a vintage Airstream Club event or been to our international rallies, the Airstreams that people flock to are the ones that look like this, right? That are these old ones that have gone around the world. They're from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. And so the Vintage Airstream Club is a really big part of us, because this is where we talk a lot about Wally Byam, Stella, and also just the history of our club and our caravans. And so this is a really important group of ours, because it's something that most other clubs just frankly don't have. And these people in the Vintage Club, by the way, are some of the ones that have Airstream dearest to their hearts because of the long history. Okay, let me hand over to Lori, because this is what it gets down to. Okay, that's nice, but what do we do with the dealers? What do the dealers want from us? Remember, this is talking to the CEOs and the general managers of these dealerships. Okay, Lori?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. And we'll slide through some of these slides because I don't want to burn up the whole night on this. But one of the things I've learned in my tender here is that just trying to talk to the dealers, we have to remember that the dealers are business partners of Airstream. So my role is that I'm trying to make a partnership between Airstream Club and these dealers. So those are the things, and these are some of the opportunities we point out to these dealers to say where we can help. It's not about what the dealers can give us, but it's about what we can give them so we can have a mutual partnership. The lack of confidence, as Eric was talking about, turnkey events, that trusted, experienced Airstream user. There are so many of those, that it's amazing the stories I hear, right, about the newbies hitting the experienced people. And then just learning about this amazing community within Airstream. It is just such a great group of people. It's amazing. Next slide, please. So here are some ways that we are working to partner with the dealers. Number one is the Explorer program, which is, I think most people are aware, it's a one free membership sponsored by Airstream. Um, I feel like the dealers are now really trying to get a grasp. They get it now. You'll see in some of our material that we have available that we've really been working on communicating this program with them. So that's for any new travel trailer or coach that's been bought within the first 6 months. Is how they make that happen. Next slide, please. And so somebody asked that earlier, but here is the Explorer program, and this is where we have been growing. Barb Darian and her team, the membership committee, has really been working on this. But you can see that the words are really getting out there to be part of this program. Next slide.
I was looking at a question. Okay, all right, we're okay.
Yeah. So the other way is we do have some dealers in the network that already are sponsoring memberships, and those are basically memberships that are outside of that new 6-month window. And then we go into the next slide of mentioning how sorry, I can tell Eric's multitasking. Next slide.
Yeah, I was answering some questions.
I
Sorry.
know, I saw that. But then we explain to these dealers ways that they can help or ways they can partner. And the biggest thing is like, come camp with us, sponsor a meal, put on a maintenance seminar, send a technician, send swag, all of these things to help them. I've had some good conversations with dealers where they understand. They've learned that maybe things haven't been the greatest between the dealer and the club members in the past. And so they are committed to work on those things and make those things better. So what we're doing, next slide, for example, is the newbie rally. We've heard about them. We all know them. We love them. And this is something that really interests them as in dealer, explaining to them if they could help support these events, these newbie rallies, we as club members can help them with the newbies, get that confidence, help them accelerate their learning of the Airstream, just not towing, hitching, how to have fun in it, and just build that confidence. One of the stats I saw probably 4 years ago, these new buyers, normally 35% of them will sell within the first year because it's just overwhelming. There is so much stuff to learn about, if you're not camping. So that's one thing that we're here trying to reiterate, that we can take that burden off that dealer. Next slide.
So wait, let me answer a question, a comment from Steve Raleigh out of Region 4. Hey, Steve. He wanted to remind us that at the International Rally, along the lines of getting to know your Airstream and your tow vehicle, for the second year in a row now, Ford, we have a person from Ford coming, a technical person from Ford, not a salesperson, to talk about the functionality and the capabilities of the Ford tow vehicles, right? And sort of how they measure the question that all of us have spent hours talking about. Hey, can I tow that thing, right? So Ford has a really interesting way of talking about that, and also sort of their inherent capabilities and their F-Series trucks nowadays about anti-sway and frankly to be able to tow with a bare ball. So stuff like that we put on seminars. So anyway, they'll be at in Sedalia for National Rally. Thanks, Steve, for making that happen.
And for those folks that are raising your hand, if you could please put your questions in the Q&A, then we can get to you. Yeah, that's awesome. We got a bunch of that stuff at the rally, which we'll talk more about here shortly. Eric, next slide, please. So this is basically our most recent batch, I'm going to call batch of collateral material that we're sending out to the dealers, as well as some of the local clubs and membership chairs are also picking up this stuff. And well, I don't have but the one that says 5 Steps Explorer, it's a big postcard basically. That's one of the things that the dealers, when we were in Las Vegas with them, they were most interested in. They were super excited to have that one piece. So one of the things I've been working on, and I think it's the next slide, is getting our dealers the information they want.
So Lori,
So
so I just have to say kudos to Lori and her team. I don't think any of this material existed a year ago, did it?
no, we had a trifold, but we've really been trying to, like some of the other big names, is we're branding. We're trying to keep our brand, our colors, our, when you see something, you know it's the club, and it's important to us to keep that. So I really think we've worked hard on developing that. So then here on this, in one of our workrooms at headquarters, you can see these are the things we're 5 different dealers that have wanted things. So we're getting ready to send all that stuff out to them. So I really feel like we're making headway, and we'll continue. I know some of the local clubs and folks have already great relationships, which is fantastic. So keep nurturing that, and we're going to continue to nurture with the dealers. And, you know, if they don't know a local, we'll make that connection. That's for sure. So I don't know what's next here.
I'm trying to answer a couple of questions. I think
Okay.
we're okay. Wait a minute. We got that. Yes, this is our goal. Get them to an event.
Yeah, we're convinced of that. That's for sure.
So a couple of questions. Max has a question about, I'm going to try to answer this lightly. Basically, how do you figure out how much charge your batteries have, like a cell phone batteries at 60% or something like that? So one of the things that our members are interested in is boondocking. And one of the challenges of boondocking, of course, is how long will your batteries last? And so most of the modern Airstreams have a battery monitor inside. It'll tell you if it's a flooded lead acid battery, AGM, things like that. It'll tell you the battery's at 75% or 30%. And for those type of batteries, once it gets under like 40% or 50%, it's pretty much unusable. So there are displays in your Airstream. On lithium batteries, it's quite a bit different though. And if it's a factory installation for a lithium battery, they have what's called a shunt. And a shunt is basically like a electronic calculator. Basically, it knows how much capacity the battery has because it knows it's 2 batteries. And it measures every bit of current energy leaving the battery and coming back into the battery. It actually keeps count of that. And it will tell you very accurately how much longer your batteries will last and what the percent full is. So if you have a question more detailed than that, it's probably might be specific to your rig, but if it's a modern Airstream, there's a monitor on the wall. Even our older ones have monitors on the wall. But if it's a lithium battery set, you pretty much need to get this shunt, which Airstream puts in with the new ones. And if that didn't answer your question, let me know. Oh yeah, so Max has lithium solar. Yeah, we'll have to answer this offline, or just give me a call later. We can talk about it. Yeah, okay, thank you. But there's a display in your trailer. Email me, Max, and with your trailer model, and I can hopefully help you with that. Okay, great. Peter has a question. We're going to get a list of all the Airstream only RV parks, and let me talk about that. So, in fact, someone else asked me this question today, actually. So there are probably 15 or so private parks that are not part of our club, by the way, around the US that are Airstream only or mainly Airstream. Texas, has a couple down there, Texas Airstream Harbor, North Texas Airstream Community, Washington Land Yacht Harbor, Minnesota Airstream Park, Pinwood Airstream Park, et cetera, et cetera. Those are not managed by our club. You may think they are because they have Airstream and a lot of club members there, but they're not managed by our club. And so one of the challenges that we have as a club is that we don't have those all listed anywhere because they're not part of one of our club entities. The answer that I have to tell people is that there is a Facebook group. And if you are on Facebook and you type in Airstream Parks, you'll come to that URL for the Airstream parks around the US. Some of the Airstream parks advertise in our Blue Beret, so you'll see them advertised there. I would say most probably do not. So that's about the good answer as I can give you for the Airstream only RV parks. But if you ever have a chance to go to one, everyone we've been to has been phenomenal. My wife and I just came back from Washington Lanyard Harbor up in the Pacific Northwest, and for a rally and hanging out there. It was really, really quite fun. We've been to a number of other ones too. It's a great experience. Let's see, Lori, there was one.
So I
go ahead.
see the one Max asked about the Kentucky Bourbon Trail trip. You'd have to get with your caravan leader on that one. About campsite recommendations. They're the ones who manage all of that. Cole asked, do we have an opportunity in the future for an app or website feature that allows Airstreams to drop a pin on a map for personal planned trips at a campground? We do have a deal with RV that we do have a trip planner, Cole. I'm drawing a blank on his. We do have a RV trip planner that you are able to make those things happen, that you can plan your trip. You can, Eric, you can talk about you use it.
Well, but it's not a social app though. I think what
Oh,
Greg Cole's question, it's ability to drop a pin on the map and say, hey, I'm here, anyone else around?
Oh,
We do not have that. Interesting. We'll give it some thought. It's a really interesting observation or question. We are looking at an app to simplify interactions to our website for basic things like finding events, doing your membership stuff, but that is not anticipated to cover that. Okay, Libby has a question. Well, there's a couple of questions about grapes and grains. Libby has a question about that, as does Max. So grapes and grains, as I mentioned, is one of our 9 or so intra clubs. And they put on events around the country. And they often will advertise through the Grapes and Grains newsletters. And so if you are a Grapes and Grains intra club member, you should be getting their correspondence and you can find out where their events are. Their events are also up on our website, also airstreamclub.org/events, where all of our events are. And I think you can filter by them, but I'm not really sure. I think that answers the question about grapes and grains.
Libby, and also we'll check in. I'll check into, I don't know, it's kind of timeline when you joined. Excuse me, but I'm gonna look into that for you and somebody will get back with you.
Yeah, grapes and grains has been, by the grapes and grains is only what 2 years old, I think. So they're really growing a lot, and they're working on doing partner events with local clubs around the country. Because even in California, we've done a couple where grapes and grains will come out and do a tasting with a local club. And so I know they're working on strengthening the links to the clubs and trying to plan events in areas, but also coordinate with the local clubs, which is really important also. And in fact, the
Okay.
International Rally, they have a big mega tasting event, which is probably going to be one of our largest events there, aside from the back party.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's see where we are on the question. So yes, Nan RV Village used to be out there, but they are no longer in use. So that was very similar to what Cole was describing. Dan, does Airstream keep David? So, no, we do not. Airstream Inc. Does not either. So again, Airstream Inc. is a company. Airstream Club International is a company, and then we have the dealers. So we have not been keeping that. That is something, though, we are definitely working on again, as we've been trying to keep track and better these relationships with the dealers.
Okay, and there's a question from Stephen asking can new members get a copy of the collateral material? I assume that's a material that we have here, correct? If it's here, then anyone can log into this airstreamclub.org/ACI collateral to request access. If that's not what you mean, retype again. Stephen.
All right.
Kathleen, there's a question, answer, she was answering Libby. There's a seminar happening at the International Rally for club membership chairs to help with best practices. And she's going to send out greetings to members, new and renewals, et cetera. So good, thank you. At Minnesota Airstream Club. Thank you.
Oh, uh-oh. I hope we didn't just. I think we're both trying to work the thing.
Why don't you answer Mike's about RV Trip Wizard, Lori?
On the partnership RV trip, or what about an Airstream overlay for our yeah,
Oh, Jim 5 asked that we can please repeat the questions instead of simply answering. Yeah, thanks. I keep thinking people can see them, but that may or may not be the case. Okay.
So Mike is asking on the partnership with RV Trip Wizard, what about an Airstream overlay for RV Trip Wizard? So Airstreams can see where their trip intersects with it. Who knows? That's definitely a possibility. We could ask, and I believe our village, RV Village, they had something like that, and I believe privacy became the biggest issue, and that's why they were people didn't want to see where other people were camping. But definitely something we can look into, Mike.
Yeah, and Mike, I'm an avid user of RV Trip Wizard, and I share a link with my friends, and I post it sometimes, as you know, you can do about where our trip goes. So it's an interesting question. It's possible already. I just don't think that we use it that much. People use it, but I got that on my list also. Adventure Genie. I know I looked at that. I think we looked at it as a club too. Do you remember, Lori? That was one of the ones we evaluated, Adventure Genie.
Yeah, actually, John, what we did when we ended up getting our other deal is we surveyed the membership of the favorite trip planning platform, and then that's how we reached out and got with RV Trip Wizard.
Okay, let me answer Ron Jorgensen's questions quickly, and then I think Rich Collins' question, Lori, you're going to address as part of the International Rally anyway.
Yeah, do you want to stop sharing your screen right now? I mean, I love our material. I'm sure everybody wants to see our material more than you and me, Eric, but go ahead.
Okay, so Ron Jorgensen asked the question, how is the new executive council structure working? And what are a couple of the top issues being dealt with at the HQ level? So the group that governs our club is the International Board of Trustees, and there's roughly 21 members on it. There's 12 region presidents who fundamentally represent all the members. And then there's 9 executive council members. The executive council kind of focus on administrative tasks, and the whole board focuses on policies, rules, guidelines, issues, things like that. I personally think the executive council, which is the 9 people, are working really well. You know, historically, the executive committee spent a lot of time planning the international rally and not governing the club and club business to some extent. But they had a lot of work to plan the next international rally. So a couple of years ago, our club decided to shift the international rally planning to a dedicated rally planning team that's comprised of volunteers and staff. And Lori leads that along with Deb Wood, so volunteer and staff. There's about 6 or 8 people on that plan the international rally. So once the international rally came off the plate of the president and the vice presidents, we're able to focus more on business stuff. So for example, we've talked a lot about Harvest Host. That partnership came up through work by the executive council. In fact, as I mentioned, Kathy Giese has been running that program. You'll hear shortly from Jenny Stetler, who's a project manager, along with Jim Jim Koch, who's also exec council on the building. So now the executive council people are actually doing more work on behalf of the members. Kendall, one of our exec council members, he's leading the effort on looking at an app for members. it goes across the board. Marcia Howe is the council member. She's leading the work on the dealers work that Lori just showed you. So the exec council is really involved. They rolled their sleeves up. They're just doing a lot of great work for the club, and I can't thank that enough. A lot of the progress you've seen in the last couple of years has been because of those folks. So thank you for all your work on that. Okay, so international rally question from Peter, Deb Kyle.
And Rich Collins. There's a bunch of rallies. So
Okay, all right, Lori, I'm gonna hand it back to you.
yay!
IR.
So Rich Collins is asking the question about the rig count. So I think we're at 1339, 1340. Rich, I don't know off the top of my head, but everybody needs to give Rich a round of applause because Rich and Cindy do an amazing job of helping bring exhibitors to our rallies. We could not do it without him. Is there a cutoff date for the international rally? We like to wrap things up on August 21st, but we still have some spaces, so we will allow you to continue to register, that's for sure. Deb is asking about our 2026 international rally. Yes, actually, anytime you guys are looking for information about the rally, you can always go to our events page on airstreamclub.org.
I can share that.
That'd be great. And then you will see, as Eric goes to the events, and that it will show, you can go there and I'll have the dates there. So yes, my not dates are listed. We will be doing a club-wide announcement on that very soon. So we have both 2025 for York and then for 2026, Minot, North Dakota.
And 2027 is locked in for Rock Springs, June-ish probably 2027.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have solid dates there yet. Okay, so Johnny and Jackie Hunter, we will not be using Groupio this year. We are using a new app. Actually, we outgrew Groupio. It's called Huva, and I know some of my rally team members are on here, but I believe it'll be about a week and we'll be launching that. So maybe a little bit more than that. Don't hold me to it. Wayne, don't throw anything at me. Do all these sites have full hookups? No, not all of the sites do. We do in Sedalia, and then the next two, no. We will have power for sure, and then we have great teams and committees that will help with pump outs and will also help with water distribution if needed. So
Talk about the finance director later. I want to answer a couple more questions and go to Jenny about the building, and we'll kind of do a lot more questions.
okay.
Dan wants to know about what date will registration open for next year's IR International Rally.
We have not identified that right now, Dan. We will be here in the next couple weeks. We'll identify an opening date for registration and email everybody.
But in general, it'll be.
I don't know yet. I won't know until after next week.
Okay. Okay, we got that. We got that.
All right. Okay. So if we want Jenny, I will. Jenny, I'm gonna unmute you and ask you to unmute yourself and turn on your camera. How's that? There she is.
Hi. Hi. Just about to roast a marshmallow here. Feel free to join me. I'm sitting in front of the new headquarters building directly across from the other building that we're currently in. So we had a wonderful experience happen. I'm the project manager. I'm also on the executive council, and I'm classically one of those people that should not open their mouth because, oh, we can do it. And the next thing you know, I'm leading it. So here we are. I do have some experience. I'm not quite that much of a novice, but the process has been wonderful. We've had 15 different volunteers. But what was really exciting was in the last 7 days, we've had 3 sets of members come by just to see what was going on. We had Cody and Matt, and we had Bard Fuller and Kathy Fuller, Region 1. And we've had Artie Martin and Pam Martin, Region 5. And they all came to see what was going on over here. And when they saw the magnitude of what we've accomplished with so little people, and so little money, but so much heart, they're really, really quite impressed. So it's pretty exciting. You know, when we bought this building, we knew it needed renovation. It was 3 separate offices, a dental office, an accountant, and a bank. It sounds like the beginning of a joke, doesn't it? An accountant, a banker, and a dentist went into a bar. Anyway, to accomplish that, we had to rework the floor plan. And in doing so, you know, if you've ever watched those TV shows with renovation, there's always a couple surprises, and this was no exception. So we had a great team. There's really a core of 4 of us that are working mostly on this building. It is myself, my husband, John, Jim Cock, and Fred Keel. And between the 4 of us, we sort of orchestrate who's coming in and doing what volunteer work. We've had just an exciting experience over here. We're ready next for painting. Now I have to share with you, next slide, please. Some of the exciting things. We had a very tiny budget in the world of renovation, but we felt like, you know what? We're doers. We can do this, and we are doing it. So far, even though we haven't yet paid for the carpeting and we have media that we have to do, and there'll be a few items of furniture, we are very, very much on target with our budget and intend to stay there. We hope to be done by the end of the rally. Guess what? I'm going to the rally, so we better be done before that. As the entertainment chair to the rally, I've got a lot of juggling balls in the air, and this is the most important one of all. John and I have spent our entire summer here. Our caravel is parked here. But what's been exciting for us, folks, is that we see how many people come here and want to camp, even if it's just for a day, or maybe 3 days, or maybe a week. It's quite an exciting thing, but it's been fun for us to share this project. So we had a tiny budget. We're staying on target. Man hours, we've actually been keeping track. We have a lot of man hours. Now, what I'm showing you here in this slide was from last week, where we had 1,440 hours. It's up the game a little bit. I am rapidly approaching, I'm overtaking Fred's days, and I'm rapidly approaching Jim Cox's days. I won't get to John's days. He's got way more than all of us, but the competition is on. So keep in mind that with a lot of heart, a lot of ingenuity, and a lot of commitment to doing what we can for our members, we are pulling this off. So next slide, please. One of the things that's happened is we've had a lot of amazing people step up to the plate. And one of them is the Price family, Tom and Tammy Price. Tom is 5th generation with drywall, painting, and finishing in construction. He reached out to his dealer, who is a PPG dealer, which is Pittsburgh Plate Glass. And he asked, and if you ask, you have the opportunity for the answer to be yes. Tom asked, and the answer was yes. We have close to $8,000 worth of paint donated by Tom's dealer. Thanks to Tom. He brought it up from Indianapolis, and it's sitting in here. It's over 100 gallons of paint ready to go on board. So we're set to go there. That was a huge ask, but he didn't stop there. Tom went ahead and asked Sherwin-Williams for all the rollers, brushes, what he calls sundries that help put the paint on the wall. And they said yes. So Tom has been amazingly generous with helping us through this process. Next slide, please. These are a couple pictures of us in action. You know, whenever you get involved in these projects, you pull people out of the woodwork that have amazing talents. One of the pictures you're seeing is Jeff Dalrymple doing all of the media wiring, hauling it through the ceilings, and dirty, sweaty, yucky work, but he got it all done. And we're very, very grateful to him. Here's a couple other pictures of us in action. Here I am doing drywall finishing, the world's worst job. We took 4 weeks, but we got all these walls in ship shape and they look great. Next slide, please. Here we are. We took what was the bank, we converted it into a conference room and a rally team room, which is the first time they'll ever have their own dedicated space. There are actually 23 separate spaces in this building now. And it's funny, when Bard and Kathy went through, they said, it's huge, it's so big. And I said, Bard, it's only 25% larger than the other building. The thing is, it's well laid out. It's got a place for everything. Everything is focused and dedicated to function. And that's the biggest difference of all. Go ahead, next slide, please. Here we see a couple more images of the mess that we created. You know, did you ever clean out your pantry? You know how on the counter it looks like a tornado went through your kitchen? until you put it all back together, and it's wonderful. That's where we're at right now. We're starting to put it all back together. So this coming weekend, we start putting in the hard surface flooring. Next is carpeting, redo the ceilings, complete a little bit more of electronics, and guess what? We're done. So we're excited for the time to go. It'll probably be all set to go by the time we get back from Raleigh. That's my goal. My goal is to have the team ready to move into this new place and get started renovating the next one. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jenny. Just amazing. And so I understand, Jenny, you're going to write an article with Lori that'll go in the next printed Blue Beret in November, I believe. Just kind of, hey, here's our new home and stuff. And so pretty cool.
Well, short of Cody and Matt, now you've told everybody because nobody else knew that. Give them the scoop. But yep, we'll have a feature article in the November Blue Beret showing kind of action shots and then the final product. So I'm very, very hopeful that you feel this was an endeavor worth doing. It has been a lot of fun. It's been hard work. Yet, boy, for our members to have grown their asset to this degree by volunteer work is an amazing thing to me.
You may want to talk about the courtesy parking we'll have in Jackson Center once this is done, by the way.
Oh, why, yes, I would love to talk about that. You know, originally we had looked at our wonderful field, which is approximately 10 acres, considering we'd use that. However, Jim Koch had this lightning strike of a brilliant idea. When we had the VAC rally here with 30 rigs, we used the grass space between this property and the other property. And Jim said, why wouldn't you just use that again? You've got enough space for 6. Once the people move out of the other building, you'll have enough for 6 over there. You've got a dozen spaces, which gives us a wonderful idea to find out, do we need more than that or is that enough? So it's kind of a mini pilot program. And we're going to be ready to roll that out right away. That is not a biggie. So we simplified that too. I think the IBT will be proud of Jim for that.
Well, it's nice because we do have a lot of members that go through Jackson Center. They're going
It
for
surprised me, Eric. You're right.
yeah,
That
they're going
surprised
for the
me.
historical center, and they have to park in the Airstream's lot over there, which may be full, it may not be their service lot.
Yeah.
And now they'll be able to go into a building, have a workspace, stuff like that. So it's pretty exciting. So thank you. All right, we're going to
Washer,
flip back
dryer.
to more questions. We have a few more questions.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
The team
You're
is so
so
excited. You
welcome.
guys have no idea.
Really a privilege.
So
Thank
excited.
you.
Thanks. Lori, there's a question Peter had about, is there a cutoff date for the national rally? I'm not sure we got that or not.
Yeah. So right now, no. So yes, there's a cutoff for changes and whatnot, but we do have a few spaces. So if you want to register, you can do it now. Because we still have a couple spaces available there.
Okay. And Jay and Jennifer ask, how about an update on filling the finance director position? Yeah, so the board, the International Board of Trustees, they approved a interim position. So Alan Rabb is our interim finance director. He took that job officially in the early part of the calendar year. And the board approved that position. He stay interim until the next election. And so in June 2025, so June, July 2025, and so in around 6 months or so, there will be an election in our club for exec council. And at the same time, anyone interested in the finance director position can submit their name also. We have a subcommittee in our club called the Leadership Recruitment and Oversight Committee, led by Jen Dice out of Texas. And they will take a look at the people who submitted their interest in a finance director position, and they will do a quick gleaning through it to make sure that they meet the minimum capabilities, finance background, blah, blah, blah. And they'll submit that list of people to the board. And the board in early August 2025 will appoint our next finance director for the next set of terms. So he's got some time to come, but look in the spring to start seeing recruitment for exec council and recruitment for the finance director. Okay, we're 5 minutes before.
Yeah, can I run down a little bit about the rally still? So we're 52 days away, right? So those that are registered, we still have some opportunities. We have the golf scramble you need to get signed up for. We have some tours that you need to get signed up for. If you're interested in a personal golf cart, those are available, as I mentioned. And I'm looking at my notes from Wayne. Hopefully the new app will be launching next week, so stay tuned for that. We still have community service opportunities, a blood drive, and then volunteer opportunities. So all of that is going to be packed into that short period of time there at the rally. So you guys
And
have
I want to
any
talk about,
interest?
let me bring up a map about personal golf carts. So starting last year in Wyoming, we negotiated with a golf cart company to provide golf carts for people who wanted to rent them personally. And it was expensive in Wyoming, but this year it's quite a bit less. I think it's like $35 a day or so, I think. And the question, so I'm bringing up a map, by the way, so I'm kind of half.
While you're doing that, Jenny, Steve Rowley thinks your sleeve was on fire, by the way. By the way, you were sitting there in your little solo stove.
Okay, I'm going to share a map. So one of the great things about having a vibrant club, wrong one, okay, share a different one, is that it's great, but the problem is our rallies are big again. Okay, here we go. So here's an aerial of the Missouri State Fairgrounds, right, where the rally is going to be. And what I want you to take a look at, see, I'll scroll this up here, is that, oh, let me see if I can annotate. Oh, I can annotate. I'm so excited.
Of course
Okay,
you
so
are.
over here, yeah, so over here is where can you guys see my red marker going? I'm hoping, yeah?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, let me draw a line. Okay, we draw a line. Okay, this is real-time flailing. Okay, I can do this. Okay, over here, you see the red line now?
Yep.
Okay, so over here is where it will feel like the rally headquarters are. So this is where the exhibitors will be, all the activity will be. There's a kind of a main area in here, Main Street with food trucks. And so it'll feel like this is the home of the rally, right in this area over here. The Missouri State Fairgrounds has 2 RV parking areas. Up here in the north, there's about 500 sites, just roughly. And the balance of the 1,000 sites are over here. So we're going to be in 2 groups. This is a fairly main road here, this road right here. I can't draw straight. There is a pedestrian tunnel that goes under here. And so for the people that are camped out here, again, we have 1,400 potential rigs. The distance between this edge, the far western edge, and over here is probably about a half a mile, I'd say, maybe 3/4 of a mile. It's a big facility. And so we will have, as always, we'll have shuttles, golf cart shuttles running around in here, picking up people on a regular basis. And if you want to sign up for the shuttle volunteers, Cindy Kugel, who is our shuttle chair, has a list and you can sign up for that. But there's shuttle drivers in here. They will take you under the pedestrian underpass in the golf carts. And then on this side, there's big people movers that'll move you over to here. Plus there's golf carts over here. So we have a lot of circulation. But I got to tell you, if you want to have a golf cart, they're kind of nice to have, because even walking from this area up here at the top, the north, down to here is probably a 15-minute walk, probably, if you're just kind of strolling, I would say. Maybe 10-minute walk. And if you're trying to walk over here, back over to the area, it's quite a bit too. So use a shuttle. Electric bikes will be fine. Pedal bikes are fine. Shuttle. So that's the layout of it. Our vendors are going to be parked down in here. And the cool thing about it is that down at the very bottom at the south, this is a Katy bike trailhead. And this is the Katy Trail goes along here. And what's really cool is you could actually ride your bike from any of these spots down to the trailhead of one of the trailers, the Katy Trail, and jump on the Katy Trail and go like 100 and something miles either direction. So it's a really fun thing. We have a lot of bike rentals. And so my other hat, besides international president, is the rally arrival folks. And so my wife Laverne and I are taking over for Larry Owens and Deb Owens to do the rally arrival. And so the rally arrival, let me change colors to green, I think. You'll come down this main street and you'll pull into right around in here. And this is where the arrival area will be. So we'll process all the arrivals right here. And depending on where you're parked, we'll either take you over to here, or we'll take you back out over to here. Not across like that, but so the rally arrivals is down here. And the FAQs on our website are really important because they tell you sort of where to park and who can park there and when you can park there. So it's a pretty distributed place. It won't feel quite as far away as in Wyoming, because in Wyoming, there's a lot of no man's land in between the campsites, but they are still far away. You can only do so much with 1,400 rigs. They're just not all going to fit in the same place. So that's a little bit more about the infrastructure, physical layout of International Rally and Sedalia. But as Lori mentioned, they're all very different. Okay, so a couple questions. Are the events air conditioned by Nancy, Lori?
Yes, so the indoor events, all the buildings we have are climate controlled. So yes, on that, but we all know we can't control the weather. So I don't know what we're gonna have there. Again, this is our first fall rally, and we're super excited about the amount of attendance. So we're hoping we're gonna have beautiful weather being in the fall.
So there's been a lot of questions, and Mr. Price, Tom asked about Vintage Airstream Club parking. And so it's a little confusing, but in some ways it's not. And so one of the goals of International Rally is that everyone gets to meet new people, learn about their trailers. And so you park with the people you roll in with. And so if Joe is behind you, you park with Joe. The only exceptions are if you're at an in-truck club group, because those groups do not have a geographical presence in general. And so the Vintage Airstream Club, Grapes and Grains, Indie Streamers, Stella Sisters, they all have dedicated parking areas. We have not identified where those will be. We'll let you all know when you get there, but you will be parked together. But I can tell you that this area in here, where I'm circling in green, is where the VAC, Vintage Airstream Club, center is for their big party. And the VAC Club will be somewhere in this area over here, I suspect. That way they're close to their big party area, which is for everyone, by the way. Okay, I think that's it. So I just want to thank everyone, in the interest of time and stuff. Thank you for guys coming. Really appreciate it, the interest. And if I didn't answer your questions, we'll get back to you. But it's always a joy. Oh, question about interstates. Will they park together? No. Peter is asking about interstates. Unless it's an intra club and there is not an interstate intra club, they're not going to park together. They would just park with everyone else.
But maybe an interstate intra-club would be a great idea.
Okay, my wife Laverne McHenry asks, will intra clubs be parked together if they registered too? So every intra club, our 9 intra clubs, will have a designated area. And if you on your registration as a member have said, I want to park with indie streamers, and you have to have done that, then we've got you a list that says, here's a list of people and indie streamers that are going to park. There's like 20 people, or pick a number, and we're going to reserve a spot for them. Same thing for VAC, same thing for everyone else. But you have to register that you want to park with that intra club. It is not sufficient to just be part of intra club. You have to say you want to park with them at the rally. Lori, did I explain that clearly enough?
Absolutely, you did. So, and the reason is, everybody, if you can imagine the chaos that to get 1,300 plus rigs parked together or parked within 3 days, it's quite the feat. So we ask people to, and we just sent an email out to everybody who's registered, check your registration, make sure you have it how you want it, because we have to work on making those, making sure that we can get people filtered in and you're not sitting in line for a super long time. Eric and his crew, they do an amazing job. They run around like crazy, but we get you parked as quickly as we can, so y'all can start enjoying yourself.
The math is staggering. So if you have 500, we have to park around 500 Airstreams, right, on Friday, right? And we're going to park over a 10-hour period. So that's about 50 Airstreams per hour, which means we have to park an Airstream almost every minute for all day on Friday. So it is, the parking team is amazing. I am inheriting a really strong team from the past leader of it, but be patient. And as Lori said, and the email said, if you want to try to beat the rush, and you can spend an extra, what is it, $50, sign up to arrive a day earlier or so, because we'll get you in there, but and come early. If you're gonna come on the busy parking day, try to get there early in the morning, because the later the day it is, the more people are in line. Simply because a lot of people, they'll pick a campsite that's maybe 200 miles away from the rally site for their last night. So it takes them 4 or 5 hours to get there. So they're gonna arrive around noon or 1. So if you can get there at 8 or 9, you'll get parked faster. So as always, early bird gets the hopefully least line. I'm trying to get jittery now. I'm like worried.
Yeah, 52 days. So for those that are asking, I just text Jenny because it looks like her screen and her fire is frozen. So I just text her, see if she's good, which I'm sure she is. I just don't know what's going on with technology right now.
I'm fine.
So that's it. We're done. But if any other questions, we'll hang here for another few minutes. We're going to repeat this in 2 hours. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming. Please don't hesitate to ask questions if you have any.
Oh, someone's talking, but we can't hear you. I think we're done. We're gonna wrap this one. Laura, you want to sign us off, and we'll catch up later. We'll see you in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We'll
Thanks,
see you in a
Laura.
couple hours. Thank you. Bye-bye.